Hey everyone, it's Alythia here, and today I'm back and very late with a new Woozworld update video. I don't think anybody wants to hear about a small random YouTuber's sob story, but long story short, my personal life is extremely chaotic, my mental health is probably at an all-time low, and I've also been applying to universities and preparing for massive exams, so I haven't really had much desire to record or play. Crazy, huh? Anyway, so today I will be going over the news article as always, and then I will briefly talk about the quest chain, and finally I will share my personal opinion on the whole thing. Let's begin with the main article. Hello Woozens, it's me, your old pal Walter Waddlesworth. Cricky, have I got a delightful discovery for you. You see, I was taking a little morning dip as I do off of the Cortosa dock and got a wee bit distracted by something particularly shiny off in the distance. Normally, old Walter doesn't like to venture too far into the sea. You never know what sort of creatures you'll find. However, this morning was a little different. I just couldn't help myself. I had to know what that shiny object was. What sort of discoverer would I be if I were to let it go without a proper inspection? A downright terrible one. Before I knew it, I'd swum out as far as the eye can see. You wouldn't believe what I found. The shiny object I was chasing was actually a rare creature. It was a mermaid. Now I know what you're thinking. Walter, there is no way you managed to speak with this mermaid. You haven't studied Mandarin? And you'd be absolutely correct, old chap. Luckily, I stumbled upon a mermaid that could speak my native tongue, English. Kai was her name, and she glistered in the sunlight with her most wondrous scales. Blushes. Okay, really? My new friend Kai, the mermaid queen, told me about some underwater wonders that she and the rest of the mer people would like to share with Woozworld. Of course, I had to investigate first. So, like any regular chap, I up and dove deep down to find the most glorious, magnificent, marvelous deep-sea creatures one had ever seen. Of course, I was tempted to keep all of these treasures for myself, but once I came back to the surface, I remembered. Walter is a sharing man, I always say. You wouldn't believe what they've got down there. There is some, dare I say, gorgeous clothing, along with some beautiful furniture covered in barnacles, pearls, and all sorts of creatures. There's even some to help you connect the dots. But don't just take my word for it. Once we get everything up from the deep sea, you'll be able to feast your eyes on all of the marvelous deep sea furniture and clothing. Just keep your eyes on the lookout for deep sea furniture category and the mermaid grabs coming to the shops. And what about my new friend, the mermaid queen? She wants nothing in return? Well, I make no promises, but I did tell her that if she ever is in a jiffy, I know a great group of Woozens that are excellent at solving crime and helping out a friendly face. That's all for now, Woozens. Ta-ta. After that came out an article about crafting. Crafty Woozens. As you know, Walter has been discovering the deep sea world with Queen Kai. Along the way, he spotted some potential resources, clams and pearls. Walter, you old chap, he shouted. When he brought the resources to Kai, she provided him with a list of recipes for pearls furniture and some rare wings. To start finding your own clams and pearls, you will need to head to that beach. There, you will find some washed up pieces of plastic and maybe even some clams. Collecting clams will give you the clamshell resource. This will give you a 10% chance of finding a pearl. The more you explore underwater, the more clams you'll be able to find. In your underwater adventure, you may also run into Queen Kai. From what we heard, she is in need of some daily help and can offer you one pearl resource in exchange for your kindness. Begin your crafting journey by opening up the pearl crafting table from the navigator, Wooz News, pearl button, or click right here. What beautiful pearls furniture will you create? Woozworld staff. I normally don't do this, but I decided that I would include those two comments that we see right there because they do raise a pretty good point, and I will talk about that at the end of the video like I said. So we start off our adventure by me logging in and for some reason struggling to find the quest. I open it and then I go to this beach and I decided to click on the palms because they were lighting up, and then I realized, oh, that just changes them, but whatever. We then proceed to the next zone, and just like a toddler or a person with the span, like attention span of a toddler, I immediately start gathering the resources. I don't know why I do that, but I keep doing it. And then I notice the pigeons and all that stuff. Anyway, we find this note that tells us that we need to find the queen, we need to find the underwater world, and I decide, hey, I'm going to be a mermaid because very, on topic. I keep gathering resources like a little kid, just running aimlessly and being like, oh my god, resources! And that really slowed me down, so I have to cut this recording by like 70% because most of it is just that. So anyway, we make our way to the queen, we see her, we talk a little bit, but first we have a little bit of a maze situation going on, and I actually like that because it kind of brought the players together. Even if it's pretty basic, it's still, you know, it was kind of nice. Like I just mentioned, we meet the queen and she gives us a very basic introduction to what it is and what we will be doing. And here's where I got a little bit frustrated. I logged in at a pretty popular time, I guess like peak time for Woozworld, and I could not manage to click anything. It was hell. I had to find chests, that was fine. But opening 25 clamshells, I literally had to give up and just do it the next day. Because even though it seemed like it was several days after the update went out, I still had so much trouble just clicking on one thing because there was a person farming every single corner, every single little square, and no matter how fast you tried to be or how fast you tried to click, there would just not be enough. I also noticed that they're golden ores spawning way more often. I think they're gold nuggets, sorry, which is a good thing because, you know, some people still don't have their gate or they want some gold, whatever it might be. Maybe they want to sell it. I don't know. That's for them. But I feel like the rate at which it spawned compared to clams and shells was horrible. Because no matter how you look at it, you need to collect the resources in order to get others to spawn. So if you go in a room, and let's say you're in the mine, okay? Let's say that you're in the mine and you keep going through this one place where there's only stone. You need to pick up the stone to make space for more ores to spawn. And it felt like that would be the same thing, except the golden nuggets, they kept spawning so much more than the clams. And of course, if someone even smells a clam, if someone even looks at it, it's already picked up. And at that point, you have 20 to 30 people in one room fighting over it. It wasn't very enjoyable for me, so I just had to stop playing. I guess you could say that is a little bit of a perk because I do have the option to just play when it's early for me, which is roughly midnight and, you know, the very late hours of the night, or early rather, for most people, it would seem like. So that did let me play a little bit more. But anyway, what is this quest chain all about in the end? Well, it's about finding the rare treasure chests, which are just, you know, locked behind a door where you need a couple of people to stand somewhere on like a platform or a pad or whatever. And that's pretty easy to get into because, like I said, there's so many people. And if you don't have enough people, then, you know, you can just use your bestie, and that can also help a lot because it's, you know, one more pad that's being clicked. The quest chain itself is nothing too adventurous. I mean, you just go around, you collect things. I haven't completed it yet because it asked me to use like pearls and stuff like that, and I simply don't have the resources. And I'm not really willing to spend weeks on it because I'm not really a big crafter anyway. It's not that big of a deal to me. I don't mind if I just don't, you know, have it for a little bit of time. So who knows, maybe the quest chain goes on further than that. And if it does, I'm extremely sorry that I'm not able to provide it. But like I said, I don't really have all of the time in the world to sit and farm alongside 100 people. It's just not enjoyable for me. Even if the quest chain isn't that captivating, I think that's the word. I am in love with the art style. I think the art team, whoever they are, if they're a team, if they're like just a few people, I don't know, they did a wonderful job. The colors are so amazing. The background is so great. All of the furniture is just, it's just perfect. Honestly, I don't believe in perfect things, and perfect is generally a word that I try to avoid using because nothing is perfect, and it's a very word, you know. Ideal, I think, is a better one. But in this context, I genuinely feel like it's perfect. I don't think there's anything missing from this. I think it is just perfect. It's wonderful. I think now I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts and opinions on the whole thing. And the main thing that stood out to me that I think is probably one of the biggest wins so far is the fact that we have an entire new area that is dedicated solely to aluminum for my American viewers over there, and also the plastic rubbles. I remember bringing it up in a video before that I feel like the forest was a little bit too preoccupied with things, and all of the logs there kind of took away from the plastic rubble and just the things that you kind of need. So personally for me, it was a pain to have to find like 500 of each. when there were, logs and so many people fighting me over these resources. So I feel like having an entire area for that is just a great win, and to think that a lot of people who still haven't finished that quest are going to be really grateful for it, because I know I would be. On another note, I think I should kind of mention that I am a little bit disappointed with the spawn rate of the clans. I think it's just a little too low. It's not fun, like I said. I've seen people just give up. I've had friends just tell me they don't want to play because it's impossible for them to do anything. And honestly, if I was in Woozworld's place right now, if I was like in their staff, I don't know what I would do. I genuinely don't know how to fix that. Maybe, I don't know how that works. Maybe they could do some kind of layering. Maybe it could be like, several kind of like layers in one zone. So maybe there's like 30 people, but you only see 5 of them, something like that. Or maybe you could just click on something, and let's say that someone else has also clicked on it a few seconds prior. They're not the only person who gets it, but if you manage to click it in time, you also get it. I think that would also be another way to solve it, but maybe that would be seen as unfair. I don't know. It's just the only thing in my mind that I think could potentially help this issue until, the game or the hype over the entire thing kind of falls out and people just, spend their time doing something else. However, I do think that if you have to count on people to stop playing and, kind of leave the zones for a bit, I feel like that's not really a good thing. So I would definitely just try to figure out a middle ground or something similar. But I don't know how long it would take to be implemented. That's why I'm not like, oh, this needs to be done, because I'm not a part of the team. I don't work in game design or anything like that, and I don't know how those things work. So I feel like for me to just sit here and be like, this needs to happen, is just very hypocritical and very lazy, and that's not what I want to do at all. I'm really just kind of brainstorming. I do think that I should probably comment a little bit on the furniture and the clothing items. I think they're great. I love the colors, but of course in clothing that doesn't really matter because you can do whatever you want with it. But the way they normally are, the way the actual design is, like where it's sold and the default colors, that's what I mean. I think they're great, and honestly I just love the pinks, I love the purples, I love the blues. It's exactly what you would expect. And I'm sure that they did a lot of research before they came up with the final designs. And honestly, I think that work paid off. I think it looks great, and I don't really see anything wrong with the designing or the clothing. I'm amazed. I love it. Of course, take this comment as someone who hasn't really seen another event like that in Woozworld, because for the time that I've spent playing, I've never really come across it. So it's possible that these things were also a thing, years ago or maybe even months ago, but I just wasn't there to see it. So for me, this is brand new and it's very exciting. I also wanted to mention that I did have the music on, but I had to speed up the recording, so that would have messed it up. And I was also listening to a podcast, so I couldn't really include it. But I think that the music is also incredibly well done. I don't know if they made it, if they hired someone, I don't know. But I genuinely like it. I think it fits the aesthetic perfectly. However, I couldn't really find a way to download it so I could use it in my own video. So I will be using some WoW music that I personally really like, that is also for an underwater zone. And, maybe it will fit. Probably won't, but we'll try. We'll see. Anyway, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I hope that my commentary was helpful, or maybe it just made you feel a little bit less alone, if that's why you're listening. No judgment, whatever makes you happy. And yeah, as always, if you have any suggestions, leave a comment down below or contact me in Woozworld, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!